Today, we're going to tackle one of the most important and, let's be honest, most misunderstood documents in business, this statement of cash flows. We're going to follow the money and see exactly why, when it comes to a company's survival, cash is absolutely king. Okay, so let's just jump right in with a question that trips a lot of people up. How on earth can a company that's technically profitable on paper suddenly just run out of money and fail? It just doesn't seem to make any sense, right? But believe me, it happens all the time. To really feel this, just imagine this scenario. Your sales team crushed it. They just closed $1 million in deals. Awesome. But your customers, they haven't actually paid you yet. So when payday rolls around at the end of the week, you look at the company bank account and it's empty. That's the exact kind of crisis we're talking about. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. You've got to separate two very different ideas in your head. On one side, you've got what we call paper profit. That's what the income statement shows, the money a company has earned, like that $1 million in sales. But on the other side, you've got actual cash. That's the real spendable money in the bank. And that's the only money you can use to pay your bills. So how do managers possibly navigate this tricky, kind of dangerous gap between having profit and having actual cash? Well, they use a sort of financial GPS. And that tool is the statement of cash flows. It's the guide they use every day to make really critical decisions. And here's the thing you absolutely have to remember. The statement of cash flows couldn't care less about theoretical profit. It is all about survival. It tracks every single real dollar coming in and every real dollar going out. Its whole purpose is to make sure there's enough cash on hand to, keep the lights on. Okay, so to really get a handle on your cash situation, you need to know where it's all coming from and where it's all going. And the good news is, the statement breaks this all down into three pretty simple categories. Think of it like three main buckets. Operations, which is all about your core business, investing, which is about buying things for future growth, and financing, which is all about how you get funded in the first place. Let's take a quick look at each one. All right, first up, operations. This is the lifeblood of the entire company. It's all the cash that's generated from your main thing, selling your product or service, minus the cash you spend on all the daily stuff like salaries, supplies, and rent. And this is precisely why it is, without a doubt, the most important section on the whole statement. If you see a negative number here, that is a major, major red flag. It literally means your basic business model is burning through more cash than it's bringing in. And you just can't keep that up forever. Next, we have our second bucket, investing. Now, this category isn't about the day-to-day grind. It's all about the future. It tracks the cash you use to buy long-term stuff that'll help the company grow, or the cash you get from selling those things off. Just think of it like this. Spending cash on a brand new delivery truck, that's cash going out. We call that an outflow. But selling off an old warehouse you don't need anymore, that brings cash in, that's an inflow. Both of those are considered investing activities. And that brings us to our third and final piece of the puzzle, financing. This section basically shows how a company pays for everything it does. It keeps track of any cash that comes from outside sources, like taking out a loan or selling stock to investors. So, for example, if you go and get a loan from a bank, that's cash coming in, an inflow. But then when you start making payments on that loan, or you pay dividends out to your shareholders, that's cash going out, an outflow. It's all about how you fund your operations and your big growth plans. All right, so now we know the three main categories. Let's actually put it all together and see how this thing works in a real-world scenario. This is where it gets interesting. Okay, I want you to put yourself in the manager's seat for a second. This month, you had three big things happen with your cash. You got money in from sales, you spent a bunch of money out on new equipment, and you paid some money out to chip away at a loan. So, what does that leave you with? Let's break this down. That $100,000 from sales, that goes straight into the operations bucket as a positive. The $120,000 for equipment, that's an investing outflow, so it's a negative. And that $10,000 loan payment, that's a financing outflow, another negative. Pretty simple, right? So, what's the grand total? You add it all up, and you get negative $30,000. So for the entire month, your company's cash balance actually went down by 30 grand. But wait, this is where the real work of being a manager actually kicks in. Just seeing a negative number isn't the whole story. The real test is understanding what that number actually means for the business and what you're going to do about it. Okay, so your net cash flow for the month was negative $30,000. But what if you started the month with $50,000 already in the bank? Could you handle that $30,000 outflow? Yeah, you could. It's tight, for sure. You'd end the month with $20,000 left, but you'd survive. And this right here is probably the most important thing to get from all of this. A negative cash flow in 1 month or even 1 quarter doesn't automatically mean the company is doomed. The real key is having enough cash reserves, a safety net. If you have that cash in the bank, you can totally handle these outflows, especially if they're for smart investments that are going to help you grow later. And this brings us right back to the manager's job. See, the statement of cash flows isn't just some boring report card about what happened in the past. It's an absolutely essential tool for making decisions about the future. Before you go out and buy that $120,000 piece of equipment, you look at the statement to see if you can actually afford the cash hit. So the next time you have to make a big financial decision, I don't care if it's for a giant company or just for your own personal budget, ask yourself this one question. What's the very first number you should check? It's not about what you've earned on paper. It's about the actual real cash you have in the bank to make things happen.